Alright, what's going on guys? Welcome to this video. This is actually going to be, I think, one of my most valuable videos that I've made to date, and it's essentially a full objection handling walkthrough at first principle, and at the end of it, I'm also going to give you frameworks and scripts to use to pretty much handle any objection that you might face to be able to set an appointment. This will work for you for LinkedIn outreach, X outreach, cold email outreach, if you're doing cold calling, warm dialing. I'll be able to help you handle any type of objection literally under the sun, because I'm actually going to walk through essentially a bit of psychology around appointment setting, what I've learned to personally book 250 plus calls now at this point, and essentially, yeah, it's gonna be great. So this is the document that we have. I actually made this for our appointment setters, but I'm also going to just walk you guys through this because it applies to anyone trying to handle objections. If you're struggling to convert positive replies into book calls or neutral replies or objections to book calls, this is going to be for you. So to be able to handle, the first thing we're going to do is start with some psychology. So when it comes to appointment setting, to be able to handle objections yourself, you need to understand actually what's going on at a deep level when a prospect gives you an objection and just what appointment setting is as a whole. So at first principle, setting an appointment involves helping a prospect bridge a gap between their current situation and their desired situation. So they have where they are right now and they have where they want to be. So their current situation involves a problem, and then their desired situation is a problem which is a reality in which that problem is now gone. And so in the context of agencies and consultants, which is our niche, most people have a target when it comes to acquisition, whether it's around the amount of leads, appointments, revenue they want to be getting. The only thing stopping them are problems. Now then we get to problems and pains, so like latent conditions of a niche. Now, I can thank my mentor, Charlie Morgan, for this. A lot of this stuff is going to be inspired by him, but I feel like actually a lot of stuff I've actually come up with myself after learning how to, being in the weeds and actually learning how to handle objections. So this part, I've got him to thank for that. But there are latent conditions in your niche which trigger the type of things required for them to become a client. So for agencies and consultants, in terms of acquisition, not getting enough leads, bad quality leads, relying on referrals, unpredictable lead generation, knowledge gap, they don't have the time. Now, when it comes to whatever niche you're in, most of you, you either run ads, you either do outreach yourselves for clients, or you do some type of lead generation for whatever niche you're in, whether it's real estate, B2B, e-commerce, whatever. Overall, these are the main problems that these businesses face. So if a prospect has any of these problems and cannot solve them, they're in a painful situation, and they have the psychological conditions required to become a client of ours. Why do prospects actually book meetings? This is the next section. So we know what problems and pains constitute make up a lead that we want to attract as a client. But at the end of the day, business owners don't really care about more leads, clients, revenue. They care about what those things will do for them in their life, and that's why they want to solve these problems. So most people, are quite frankly asleep when it comes to this stuff. So they're a puppet to their own base level drives, have no meta perception of them whatsoever. So as long as that's the case, the market will always have the same base level drives that most do, and this all just manifests in people wanting to grow their business and get more clients. So this is why people book an appointment, guys. It's really nothing else more than this. They are taking initial steps to alleviate the pain. Again, this is from Charlie Morgan. Value is created when pain is alleviated, and pain is alleviated when problems are solved. But when you alleviate the pain of their current situation, because they have seen an outreach from us saying we can solve their problem and get them more clients, this will bring about their desired situation potentially. So that's why they're hopping on a call. So it's vital to understand that the majority of people are pain avoiding machines, and they attach so much emotion to acquisition because it is the bridge between a thriving business and a dying one. These businesses are closing machines. If people aren't generating appointments and aren't closing deals, then they don't have a business. And so this is a huge problem that these business owners face. And we need to pull on that. So why does this, then we get to the next, why do some prospects not book a meeting? So, because theoretically, everyone with a problem that they can't solve, related to acquisition would book a call with us from our outreach, if they knew it would get them to their goal or, give them ROI. So I guess why don't they? Genuinely, and I thought about this for a while. It's because they don't think it will. Perception is reality, and people will act from theirs. And so why is that the case? Because their belief systems about you, your offer, your outreach, or your service, anything about that is everything that they're believed to be true about whatever I just mentioned with, your outreach or whatever type of position you have in the market, or whatever you're sending them, whatever scripts or stimuli. They have certain beliefs about those things, and sometimes these can be very faulty beliefs that cause objections to happen. This is precisely where objections actually come from. It's people's belief systems. So the source of objections. Now we're getting really into the weeds of this stuff. I really thought about this for a while. This is completely my own thing. So this next part. So hope it actually helps you guys understand like what's really an objection. Because when you guys hear an objection, you probably think, oh, it's an objection, I won't be able to handle it, or you have a belief that like they're right, or they might have a point, when most of the time it's completely irrational, and all we need to do is think about the psychology and what's actually happening to be able to overcome it. Because if you understand where they come from, why these objections are happening, and then at first principle how to solve them, getting the right scripts, which I'll give you some scripts later as well, but knowing what to say becomes easy when you understand the fundamentals. So each prospect, has a set of beliefs, most of which have been formed from their past experiences. A lot of these beliefs actually prevent them from trusting us, from being receptive to our outreach, or booking in a call. This happens because although they are in pain and want to solve their problems, to act out of alignment with other beliefs they have would cause too much cognitive dissonance or even more pain than their problem gives them. So the beliefs people have about you or acquisition usually come from one of two things: pain or irrationality. Now, pain is when, someone has a painful experiences in a certain domain of life, their mind literally forms beliefs around what has happened as a defense mechanism to prevent them from experiencing such pain again. So it's like Pavlov's dog, if you guys have heard of that in psychology, a famous thought experiment. Well, not just a thought experiment, it's a famous experiment where it's essentially classical conditioning. So as an extreme example, let's say a prospect was struggling to generate leads, bought from a marketing agency who promised to fill their calendar. Let's say the same agency, once the prospect bought, barely communicated with him, didn't have run any systems properly, and only booked him a few calls. To get my point across, let's say this happens 3 times over to the same prospect from 3 different vendors. Due to all these negative experiences and the negative emotions around it from being burned, the prospect now forms the perception that, all agencies are rubbish and can't deliver results, and immediately turns off when they see offers, scripts, or replies that look the same as what essentially fucked them over. So, but this is irrational though, guys. Like, if you think about it, just because he's had bad experiences doesn't follow that you're going to be, like, I hope you guys actually care about getting your clients results and delivering a good service, right? If that's not you, then don't even watch this video. I don't want you watching my stuff, probably. But because you can use this for bad, essentially, when you understand how this stuff works, and you can pretty much handle any objection and just get prospects to buy your stuff. So make sure you guys are using this for good. That's just a caveat to this. But yeah, when they see, it does not follow from that, like, illogically, that every agency is bad. And, you guys care about your service, hopefully, and so you're going to deliver good results for them. And so you just need to transfer that belief. But the problem is pain and trauma don't care about what is logical. So now whenever someone reaches out to this prospect, they just say piss off, because their brain has formed beliefs to avoid reliving that experience. Because most people, they're irrational. They don't actually think. They're just pain avoiding, right? Then we have irrationality. So sometimes the prospect's beliefs are simply due to a logical thinking confirmed over time, and it leads to too much cognitive dissonance or fear to act out of alignment with it. So to make my point, here is an extreme hypothetical, but let's say a middle-aged prospect brought up in a household where, family constantly believe that they should always figure things out themselves, they're better than other people at solving problems and all this stuff. They don't want to seek outside help, and all this all these beliefs that concoct throughout childhood, because through adolescence most people do not have a critical thinking filter, and all information they receive is just accepted by an authority figure like their parents. And if it's never questioned, people just go through their whole lives confirming that belief over and over again, which just reinforces it. But now, let's say this same prospect, middle-aged, tried to start a marketing agency where they need to know stuff about AI, tech, and which they have no clue about, right? So they can't get consistent leads for themselves. But because, of his belief, I should do things myself, his response is, I don't need any help, or I've got it covered. Because the fear of acting out of alignment with that is stronger than the pain of not getting clients. Irrational, even prideful at that point. So someone has a problem. This is the pain that they're experiencing, right? I'm trying to in the camera as well, but this is the pain they're experiencing. They want a desired situation, but there's something here, a mental block, a belief, because we all have a web of beliefs, and it's holistic. When it comes to philosophy and stuff, because I've looked into philosophy as well, people have a certain epistemology when it comes to beliefs. So they will not act if they have even if they have a painful problem that they want to solve. If they have beliefs, something they believe to be true that they think is justified, blocks them from doing that. So I think I can do it myself. When someone reaches out to them, they're not going to be receptive to that, because to act out of alignment with a belief leads to too much cognitive dissonance. People literally can't do it. So, no matter what a prospect throws at you guys, overall, I use these 2 examples because it's either one of these 2 things. like pain or irrationality. Now, sometimes prospects will have rational objections. So if they're just getting too many clients that they don't know what to do with genuinely, you can't really handle that because they don't have the conditions to become a client. If if they have like some rational objection, like if they're masters at the craft of lead generation and, you reach out to them like some guy with 50,000 followers and he already knows what he's doing, then, that's a rational objection. But most of the time it's emotional, it's irrational, it can be handled, guys. So it's important to know, like I said, every objection can be handled. And I know this is like some technical stuff. We're talking about first principles. I'm going to give you guys scripts later for literally any objection that you get, whether it's price, whether it's how does it work, all this stuff that you receive in the DMs that people ask. I'm going to show you guys how to handle that stuff. So just bear with me. But your perception will become your reality. So guys, you need to instill the belief that I can handle any objection under the sun to get a prospect booked in. If you see the above sentence and feel doubt or pain, you just have to push through. I remember when I was getting objections a while back, months ago, maybe early this year, late last year, and I would get people would give me objections, right? And I would just crumple. I would just crumble. Like, I don't know how to handle the objections because I never learned, how this stuff works. We all watch the gurus that just give you the scripts and they tell you X, Y, Z and you'll be a millionaire and all these things, but like they don't even understand first principles. And this is why like there's so much leverage in actually understanding what is going on, because guys, like what's out there nowadays is just like horrible. Like if you guys can just understand this stuff and apply it, you're gonna book so many more calls than everyone else. You're gonna beat everyone else, and that's not to say like you're better than them if you beat them and stuff. But like guys, this is what's gonna help you guys book calls and essentially get clients. Understanding this stuff. So back to my point, you need to believe that any objection can be handled, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to act out of alignment with that guy. So you at least need to believe that you can become someone who can handle any objection. Because to change belief in real time, you have to change your actions. So you must face the pain to create positive experiences. Now, I'm not kidding when I say, because this is for my setters as well, but I'm not kidding when I say I can give you all the training, all the scripts, but if your beliefs are out of alignment with reality, you do not actually believe you can change, you will mess it up somehow. And that's like, couldn't be further from the truth. So you guys are going to really focus on that. I'm going to teach you now how to actually think when it comes to handling objections. This is something like I'm really proud of, actually. Not that you guys should care about it, because like it mainly just use this stuff to help you get clients. That's the main thing. And obviously this is for free, so don't it's not behind a paywall, not behind some low ticket course on how to handle objections. It really is just everything I know about handling objections in one document. But yeah, so the overall psychology of handling objection involves removing their subconscious block or transferring serious emotions so they act anyway. This one is more for sales because appointment setting is, a bit more, it's in the DMs. It's not really, you're not really calling people up, so you can't really pull on that emotion as much. But when it comes to handling objection itself, there are 6 methods we can deploy to overcome it and set the appointment. So before I get into the 6 methods, essentially, we have prospect's painful situation, their desired situation. What we can do is, if they have an objection, which means they have a block, a subconscious block, what we can do is either amplify the pain of their problem so that overcomes the mental block regardless, or we can try and remove this subconscious block or satisfy it so that they act. So that's essentially how these 6 methods are working. So the first thing we can do is change their beliefs. So this method involves challenging the belief a prospect has about a certain domain to help them install a new belief that gets them to take action. So this implicitly removes the subconscious block they have around their objection, offering a new perspective they previously did not consider, which makes the situation seem different and removes their cognitive dissonance. So this is usually done by pointing out, the way of viewing things is limited in a certain sense, or simply, outdated or wrong. So, as an example with the prospect about, I want to do things myself, it's about like challenging that belief. Like, and again, I've got scripts for it as well, but there's certain ways you have to go about it that don't create combativeness or anything like that, which is what the frameworks are going to be for later. But at first principle, this is what's actually happening. The second thing we can do, leveraging cognitive biases. So sometimes we can approach the objection from a different angle that ethically exploits something in the prospect's psychological makeup to get them to take action. So biases are irrational and automated tendencies people have that cause decisions to be made without them consciously thinking about it. We can use pattern interrupts, curiosity biases, reasoning biases, reciprocity biases, incentive biases. There are hundreds of them, essentially, to get a prospect to book in. These cause people to act because their beliefs surrounding the bias overcome the mental block associated with their objection. So for example, someone has, pattern interrupts are a big one, like the curiosity bias. If it's a new opportunity, sometimes people will just they think it's a new opportunity. So that's the bias that's not going to be like what happened, what burnt them in the past or anything like they've experienced. And so they're more open to booking in a call. Or, reasoning bias. Let's say they've got a mental block, but, you give them a good reason to hop on the call. So something that's in their best interest. So it's mixing incentive with that as well. So we're going to give you value on the call. We're going to give you a custom solution and then that you could leave with no matter what. So you're not even framing it as pitching them or a sales call. So many biases, guys. Reciprocity, like giving someone value. They might be like, oh, I should hop on a call because he's going to give me value. And then that might even make them more receptive to buying from you. You don't want to like give value on sales calls. Technically, you just when I say give value, that means like just give them a good pitch that's actually tailored and customized to them. But yeah, so many biases we can use there, guys. Authority, knowing what you're talking about. This one's pretty simple in terms of the principle, but simply knowing what you're talking about and having an objective view of acquisition will transfer to the prospect and make you trust them more. Make them trust you more. So this one takes time and will become more useful as you understand more about, the offer that you're running and how, you get results for people and how you solve the common, objections that people experience when trying to install acquisition systems themselves or, with outside help. Confidence, certainty, conviction. This one is more for sales because, setting is more message based, so you can not transfer emotion as well, like I mentioned. But when we reply to prospects to handle their objections, simply having the internal confidence that, you know exactly what you're doing. This is the best thing for the prospect and you can definitely help them will transfer into this conversation, even if it's in the DMs. So you should always believe that a prospect booking in a call is in their best interest and that you can also always handle the objection. And, like I said, this is the best thing for their business to get leads. That's what you need to ingrain in your mind, guys. This is a cool one, giving them what they want to satisfy their belief. So instead of challenging a faulty belief, we can just that like they have about themselves or about us or you that prevent them from taking action. We can simply satisfy their belief, guys. So this can be done during the conversation, or we can handle the objection by informing them that their belief will be satisfied on the call if they book in with us. So let's say someone wants to see testimonials. You can either say, oh, yep, here's the testimonials, and they book in a call, or you can say, yeah, I'd be more than happy to share testimonials once I've given you, a custom solution, once I've seen where you're at, where you're looking to get to, and we really tell something that fits, and then only if you find that valuable, we can show you some testimonials or show you more proof. How does that sound? So it's giving them what they want or preemptively saying that you're going to satisfy what they want on the sales call. That works really well too. Amplifying the pain of their problem, creating consequence. At a fundamental level, when a prospect has an objection and does not book in a call, they have concluded that it is more useful or less painful for them to stay where they are than to book in a call with us. So instead of handling an objection, we amplify the pain of their current situation so that it overrides their subconscious block. Again, this is more for sales, but can come in handy if you're getting really annoying objections like, oh, we're already getting enough leads or any of this stuff. I'll show examples later. Cool thing, again, this is from my mentor, Charlie Morgan. I learned this, not that it's his, it's a psychological principle. It's not really his, but credit to him for, I guess, I found when I saw his YouTube videos, I kind of found this stuff out. Sometimes you only need one method to handle objection, but stacking multiple can lead to a Lollapalooza effect, guys. So when you use multiple of these 6 methods, it has an exponential effect on getting them to take action. You should never forcefully use a method, always adapt to the context. So again, these are the 6 methods we can use. Now, I know that's a bit first principle, it's a bit abstract, it's a bit kind of confusing. You can't just know this and then immediately know how to handle objections. That's why now the next part is about the general framework, and then I'm also going to give you some scripts as well. Obviously, the shiny stuff, how to handle these objections. Now, when it comes to specifics, obviously you need to adapt this to your offer, your niche, your specific process, because a lot of the objections that we have are already tailored specifically to our type of ideal client profile that we're reaching out to. So that's what you want to make sure that you're optimizing for. So the first thing though is acknowledge, gratify, or empathize. So this shows them that you're actively listening to them, which lowers resistance, makes them feel heard, so they start to respect and like you more, makes them more open to hearing what you have to say, not combative. Biases at play, reduce reactance, liking, validation effect, and reciprocity. Guys, this is all psychology. At first principle, it might sound woo-wah, oh, it's not that complicated. But it's not that complicated. It's really is simple, psychology and how people's minds function, what the irrational biases that they have. Because people, unfortunately have souls that are, at least in my view, I believe in God and stuff. I'll probably make videos about that at some point. I think God can be logically proven. Anyway, back to the video. People have because of their souls and their state of their minds and sin and in my view, but they're rational. They do things that are rational, and so we have to like use psychological biases to ethically manipulate them, but only do this if we're actually delivering a good service. So that's what you want to do. The first part, my sidetrack there, don't worry about that. That you guys will probably understand. I know the channel's not that big right now. It's like 60 subscribers, so don't worry about that. That's like a future kind of thing that I'm gonna hopefully move this channel towards, because I have a big vision for this space and where I want to take, like, I want to help you guys get clients, but I also want to help, like, I guess, with paradigms and how you see the world and this space, because I feel like a lot of people in this space are just godless, man. So anyway, back to the objection handling, which is what you guys care about. So the second thing, handling the objection using one of these methods that I've walked through. And then always a soft call to action. So, should always be framed as a low pressure, and the best next step for them should always present the cause what's in their best interest, valuable for them, not you. You give reasons as to why they should hop on a call, linking it to the desired outcome. Biases at play, disarming, pain avoidance, incentive, reasoning, and curiosity. Again, note, this is general first principles framework. Objections should always be handled in the context, and if there is a unique method that is extremely effective, that does not follow the strict process, it should be used. So always think for yourself and follow scripts for specifics. Now, this is a document I originally made for setters, and I kind of gave them a walkthrough of our VSL that we send to prospects on LinkedIn, and also our pitch that we use for sales, because it's important to note that a lot of examples will be tailored, customized to our specific process offer. All you want to do is, when I show you the scripts, a few of them, because there's heaps of them, I'm not going to be able to walk through all of them. You want to adapt it to your offer, your process, exactly things that you know about your market that are going to tick and get them to book in. You obviously want to adapt for that. The better you understand, your offer and systems, the better your objection handling will be, because you've already created unique positioning in the market that stands out and actually pre-handles a lot of objections. So, final thing, the shiny stuff, scripts for all the common objections. So far we've gone through, the psychology of appointment setting, where objections come from, how to handle them, objection handling framework for messaging, and then, our specific offer and process. Now I'm going to walk through specific and common objections you'll face and how to handle them by giving you scripts. Don't monkey see, monkey do. Hopefully you've seen the rest of this YouTube video, haven't just gone to the end or whatever to get the scripts. Because, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach a man a fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So that's a cool quote that kind of applies here. Ideally below you should be used alongside the first principles. It should always be adapted to the specific prospect. Once you internalize the fundamentals in the process, you won't need to memorize lines. Like you'll just be able to do this on the fly, and that's the goal, because all the scripts and stuff that I use, they're born out of the fundamentals and the stuff above. So specific scripts though, guys, like look at this. So every single objection, like we have the 3-step framework. So acknowledge, gratify, empathize, handle the objection, and then the soft CTA. So information, process, tactical objections. So I'm sure you guys have got this before. What channels do you use? What platform do you use? How does it work? What's the process? What's your mechanism? So as an example, this is what we do. So glad you bring this up, and so here's some clarity on that. We have a series of organic systems, each running on a 3-pillared process. And then we walk through, the 3-step system that we run, which is unique to what I know a lot of agencies are actually reaching out with. So that's going to be kind of a new opportunity, curiosity bias as well. Again, it'd be hard to walk through specifically why this all works, but because a lot of these things are unconscious. Like a lot of the things I know how to say, they're subconscious because I've learned the first principles in a way. Like I'm not some genius, but I just know a few biases. I know how objection handling works, and I know how the frameworks, what frameworks get people booked in. So it's all designed to bring you 25 to 35 plus extra meetings per month. I did 25 to 35 here because, a lot of people say, 30 qualified calls a month or you don't pay, or, you want to just, any way you can sound a bit different. Say 33 extra appointments. It's some tick that people are, 33, that's a bit different. I might book in a call. Very small things, guys, that can get people to book in. But then again, that being said, which channels we'd run for you and the full system details would depend on your specific business and what's best suited to filling your calendar ASAP. So I'm explaining that. For me to explain it properly, I need to get on a call. So that's a reasoning bias. And then, so you're open to a chill demo where we can get a better idea and then see if it's a fit and give you a tailored solution. So a lot of my CTAs are framed in this way. A chill demo, seeing if we can get a better idea, and then seeing if it's a fit and giving a tailored solution. Obviously, these people are business owners. They know it's a sales call technically, but the way you frame it, genuinely will affect the type of replies you get. Because if you say, oh yeah, you want to hop on a sales call, people just won't book in because of the triggers in their mind. There's a lot more here, value objections. I've seen offers like this all the time. And then totally valid reaction, mate. The market's flooded with the same old stuff, and that's actually why we do a complete 180. All of our systems run on a unique 3-pillar process, the same 3 pillars, and a similar CTA. Then price inquiries. How does the price work, guys? Like literally for every objection. So I'm gonna probably just put this in the description as well, so you guys can see. I might not share every single one because obviously these are the scripts that we use. So for a lot of people, we only have 60 subscribers, so it wouldn't be many. But the main thing is I want you guys. You need to be able to think, because you guys aren't going to be in the same niche. You're going to have different offers. Things will need to change. But here's another example. Never invested, resistance, suspend. We've never hired anyone for this before. We don't do paid services. I hear you, mate. That's no worries. So acknowledging. Just to check though, are you actually looking to get more high intent meetings, or just more predictability as a whole right now? Asking, because if that's the case and you're struggling to figure it out, we could run a chill value-based demo purely to get a better idea of where you're at, walk you through a tailored solution for getting more calls with better quality without you committing to anything paid. Let me know. So it's always going to be adapted to the prospect, but this works because it's seeing if they have the problem, because this doesn't really tell us. Ask them, because if that's the case and you're struggling to figure it out, this will amplify their pain a bit, want to get them to take action. We could run a chill demo just to give them a fit, and then we don't say that they have to commit to anything paid, because genuinely on our sales calls, we pitch a solution before we pitch the price. So if they like the solution, then we can look into the price. But the first thing that happens is give them a tailored solution, and they don't have to commit to anything paid. So that's why this one works as well. So essentially all the fear objections are here. This is for setters a bit, but essentially how to use the scripts in SOP. Usually when it comes to objections, it's either going to be money, time, fear, or value objection. So figure out which one it is, and then you got to essentially figure out how to handle it. And you want to use this framework. Come back to this video. This is the exact framework you want to use. These are the biases that you can use, cognitive biases, and think for yourselves, guys. That's one of the most important things. The scripts are here. I don't have time to go through every single one for every single type, but as an example, maybe there's another one. We do everything internally. We've already got it covered. I'm fine with referrals. Sometimes people are being genuine about this, but sometimes it's just an ego thing. It's a fear of releasing control, essentially. So, I hear you, mate. That's no worries at all. Sounds like things are moving okay, which is good to hear. Just to check though, are you 100% happy with the volume and quality of meetings you're getting? And then, a similar type of CTA. You don't want to monkey see, monkey do. That's the most important thing. But overall, this is going to help you handle any objection, whether it comes to cold email, LinkedIn, literally anything you're running. Getting people booked in, and stop losing leads to objections that can easily be handled. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Probably one of my best videos to date. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. If you want any other videos about anything kind of first principles, if you guys like this. I know we don't have a huge channel just yet, but if for you guys that do watch this stuff, let me know if you guys enjoyed it. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.